Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, Part 12. Chapter 18. Just to remind you, this is the book 50 Shades of Spanish, or 50 Sombras de Español. So being a Spanish teacher, or probably any kind of teacher, attracts admirers. I'm not vain enough to think it's my stunning good looks or sparkling personality. It's just a kind of teacher-student fantasy that many men harbour from school days. They make jokes about detentions and canes and punishments as if no one has ever made them before. And as I teach mainly adults, this has caused problems at times over the years. Some have been more welcome, some attention has been more welcome than others. So these types of men are normally already married or in some kind of relationship. And usually, I'm afraid, they're not the kind of men that maybe my fantasies are made of. But this doesn't seem to bother them. They normally come with partners who think they are some kind of love god, and any woman should consider herself lucky to be propositioned by them. Therefore, it must be the lucky woman's fault if their men go astray. I've never really understood that personally. I find it awkward and insulting. One very unwelcome suitor, if you like, was Charlie. Again, names have been changed. Charlie was married to Christine. He hadn't even been for classes yet when he took a shine to me. We had mutual friends. We were occasionally in social situations together. He was a nice enough guy, but about as far removed from Brad Pitt or Idris Elba, my own personal fantasy men, as you could imagine. It started with uncomfortable staring, then threats to come for Spanish classes one day, as if that was really all I was waiting for in my life. I must give off some very strange signals, as I swear I do not remember flirting with this guy in any way, shape, or form. It all came to a head one night at a party. It started as we were having drinks, and I had to walk past him. Oh, sorry, I apologised, as I thought I'd accidentally brushed his hand with my backside as I walked past. I soon realised, as his hand continued to give my culo a massage, that had not quite been the case. When situations like this happen, what you really want to do is slap them across the face and give them a few choice words. What you end up doing normally is nothing, because you don't want to cause a scene, and their wife and all your friends are right there. As we were all sat in the restaurant eating later, it was even worse. Every time I looked up, he was staring at me intently, with quite a scary, leering expression on his face. I got up to go to the toilet, and he followed me, and he whispered in my ear, promisingly, "I'll be coming for Spanish classes one day." Again, like it was some tantalising secret that we shared. But unfortunately, I wasn't quite in on it. I just smiled weakly. I knew I was supposed to feel privileged about this in some way, but somehow I just was not feeling it. Was I missing something? After the meal, we went to another bar, and I just tried to keep away from him, as the alcohol was flowing, and I knew this was likely to A, increase the chances of him doing something else, and B, increase the chances of me punching him in the face. I decided I did not want either of these things to happen. And I was aware that his wife, Christine, was jealously watching every move he made. I simply kept my distance. All seemed uneventful until home time. I was chatting with a friend when suddenly he appeared at my ear, taking advantage of the fact that his wife was distracted for a moment, saying goodbye to someone else. He leant over with that same intent, leering expression he had been wearing all evening, and he whispered slowly, "Just imagine being tied up, blindfolded, and licked all over." My jaw dropped open, and all I could manage to say weakly was, "What? What?" At that moment, I was saved as Christine appeared and practically dragged him off by the ear, making some comment to him that I don't even want to repeat. Sorry, to me. She made a comment to me that I won't repeat. But it was, well, I might repeat it. It was somewhere on the lines of, "Oh, don't worry, when I get him home, I'm going to SHAG him." And I was just like, what? As a friend commented later, maybe due to the fact I would have been blindfolded, it might not have been so bad. Anyway, funnily enough, Charlie did eventually come for Spanish classes, and in fact, he behaved impeccably. So luckily, I never actually got to find out. Chapter 19, The Widower, El Viudo. Being a Spanish teacher influences your social life. When you go out in the company of expats and they find out you teach Spanish, they do one of two things. They either become defensive and obviously uncomfortable about their own level of Spanish, as they have maybe lived here for many years and never bothered trying to learn. Failing that, if they are keen to learn, they therefore start speaking to you in Spanish, wanting to take the rare opportunity to practice what they've learned. Unfortunately, although they live in Spain, they probably live in an area inhabited by expats and rarely use it, which is a shame. However, I prefer the first kind for a number of reasons. Firstly, if I'm not working, I don't really want to speak Spanish, as I'm relaxing, and no one wants to be reminded of work in their spare time. I sympathise with doctors who go to parties and are shown rashes or ask what this or that pain means as soon as they divulge what they do. Secondly, if I'm out and drinking, I'm the opposite of my students, who normally say after a drink or two they have more confidence and feel more relaxed in speaking. For me, it's the contrary. After a few drinks, I just start to relax. I have no interest in speaking Spanish, unless I'm with Spaniards, of course. I just want to socialise without thinking too hard. Also, I feel that I can never really let my hair down when people know I'm a teacher. I always feel I should behave in a certain way, especially if I bump into parents of students. As the expat community is a small one here, I very often encounter students past and present when I'm out. And when it is the early hours of the morning in some late night bar, I can only hope they're letting their hair down too. That's how I met the widower Michael again. Michael had been a student of mine a couple of years earlier along with his wife Tina. He had not done many classes. She had stayed longer, as he was working and many times he could not make the class. I did remember him though, particularly as he was a very attractive guy, but I also remembered that his wife was a very nice woman. So there I was, approximately 2 a.m. in a late bar after many vodkas and quite drunk. I didn't even see him coming. But later, my cousin used to call him Creeping Jesus because Do you know what a creeping Jesus is? Is someone that can just appear behind you and you've not even heard them coming. He was a bit like this. Suddenly he was at my side at the bar and fixing me with the stare that I remembered used to unsettle me so much in class. Luckily he was drunk too. Now I can't do the accent. Hello, do you remember me? He was from Northern Ireland and he rasped the question in that deep, sultry voice that all the men from there seem to have. Oh, yes, of course, I said. It's Michael, isn't it? I answered, trying to put on my sensible head and actually put a coherent sentence together. How's your wife? I asked. I cast through the vodka fog for her name, but I just couldn't get it. I was trying to make some polite conversation and not let slip the fact that I was actually really drunk. Not at all appropriate for a teacher. She's dead, he replied. Shit, I thought. A couple of excruciating minutes followed while I wondered what the hell I was supposed to say next. Oh, I'm sorry. What happened? Was the pathetic question I managed. Cancer, he said. Double shit. I really wanted the floor to open up and swallow me. Maybe it helped us both being drunk, as we did move on from that, and we started to go out together for many months. I really liked Michael, but unfortunately I did get to understand where the phrase the merry widower comes in, because it transpired in the end that Michael was in fact seen several women to help him recover from losing poor Tina. Ah well, the one that got away again. Thank you. Till I see you again in the next one, may your God go with you. Bye.